thing they didn't have in the basic game were the Titans and stuff. But speaking of the Titans, I still think that the Titans are cool. They're way out of reach for me. Probably if you have something that you know you're never going to own, but you know you're going to probably lust after all of your life, it would be a Warhound Titan that is converted to be a Space Wolf Titan. I just think that that would be awesome, sitting amongst an entire army of Space Wolves, of course. Okay, as I gush about Space Wolves here. Warhammer, this is probably one of the edition changes. I have one of the edition changes. I know that I bought one. I think mine might have had Lizardmen in it. This one I think is Goblins versus Elves. So this is probably not the one I got. I have no idea which edition it is. Battle Magic, which has been just recently on the website again with its own cards and everything being issued. Again, this is staying power. Back in 1993, this was being released in this format. It's still being re-released today with better models, and I'm sure refined rules that help play, and a much heavier price tag. Here's more heavy metal. Starting to see the freehand on the barding of the Wizard's horses. Always did enjoy the Wizards of White Dwarf. They were always many varied and created a lot of opportunity to convert and make unusual. Here's something you might want to compare with the recent Griffin. This was a winged Pegasus with an elf on it. Pardon me. Not quite as sleek and as stretched out as that awesome Griffin that came in the new Island of Blood, but a nice model. I don't think the texture on the wings is really that different from what you're seeing on the plastic model, but the musculature and the realism of the Griffin compared to this Pegasus is showing the realism of the models coming a long way. Here's lots of savage orcs. Starting to see some unique painting styles here where they've got almost the tattooing in the faces. I'm sorry about the shadow. It's a part of the leg of the tripod, and I've tried to put paper up and put off-source lighting, but I either get big glares or it's not a professional presentation, that's for sure. These are orc biggins. Not as big as some of them that I've painted, I believe, from this line, but I like the early orcs. This I think is great because you really, these wolves here and these goblin riders on the wolves, you've really only got two sculpts here. You've got mouth open with tongue, mouth closed. But look at the variation on the paint. You've got, you know, gray coming down to white, tan going to brown, dark gray going down to white, darker gray going to lighter gray, or the other way around. Black wolf. Just a lot of variation. You put these guys together and they look like a very mixed pack, and yet you're only talking about two models. And that's what's great about this hobby, is you can be very self-expressive in what you do with the models. You don't have to paint them to look like they look in a book or to look like they look on somebody else's site. You paint them the way you want them to look. Here's my guys again. As I said, I love the Space Wolves. If you take a look at this banner, speaking of banners, doesn't this look very much like the door that Van Hammer has behind him? Except I think his wife's is much better. Speaking of that, if you get a chance, check out Seymour and Van Hammer's channel. She's doing commission banners, and if you're really into your particular chapter of Space Marine and you'd like to have a big banner maybe to have in the room for all that money that you've invested in that great army, you might check her out. She's an extremely talented artist, and she's doing that now, I believe, on commission. Already have a couple examples for you to look at, so check her out. I think that she could probably also exceed your expectation on something if you asked her to do it for it. Here's one model that I'm sorry I didn't pick up. If I didn't, I haven't gone back looking through my old models, but I didn't buy much of the sci-fi stuff back in the day. I was really more into the fantasy, so I didn't pick up much of the Space Wolves, although I have quite a few here recently. But I love this model here. He is a wolf priest and has the wolf head and looks like almost a wooden carved peg leg back here. Just a great looking figure, and I love the weapon on this guy with the wolf skull on it. And these of course are metal figures, but great chapter. Love the fluff. How can you not love warrior Vikings that have made it 40 years into the future and actually have canine teeth? I mean, that's just awesome. They've gone back to the Man of War painted figures. Painted figures always look better than unpainted figures. They certainly look larger. Here's some nice gaming setups where they've shown a nice gaming table with the ships coming in. And more of the ships. And you could of course buy ships that had better stats and were metal based. And like any game, it was a starting point for you to make further investment. Talisman Dragons was an expansion. I mentioned, I think, before how much of a fan I was of the of the Talisman game. Yes, I had the first edition, and yes, I bought the second edition, although I bought it at a flea market, I believe. And yes, I bought all the expansions. And yes, when it came out in one big form with the plastic miniatures, I bought it again. But no, I am not going to buy the Fantasy Flight re-releases, 4th editions, or 5th editions, or whatever editions they are. At least not yet. One of the things it said was that this came with a bunch of cards which enhance the game, of course, but a little bit misleading here. It says it comes with 4 new cards and 4 new playing pieces, and as much as I was touting Games Workshop for putting their figures in their new board games and that type of thing, this was the new character card, and this was the new playing piece. Yeah. But in their defense, this is also what the playing pieces look at like on the main game as well. Although I was using some of my miniatures to replace those. It's not like I don't have a few metal dwarfs around here that are painted. U.S. mail order. This is actually published in the U.S. Everything's quoted in dollars. This is really, they have hit their stride in the United States. You hear those Eldar. It looks like there's some kind of a turning base here, which probably some kind of counter showed up. So I don't think that HeroClix and MechWarrior did anything that Games Workshop hadn't done before when they came onto the scene. Reaver Titans are cool, but like I said, my favorite is the Warhound. Here are more of the Epic line, the smaller pieces. Small Dwarf, Man of War, metal pieces. Here's my Space Wolves again, Empire, Wizards and stuff, those are cool. And here are the mechanics and stuff, the text for the, and this is my model that I really like from back then. I imagine that probably there's a bunch of those hidden away in boxes somewhere. Here's a larger model with dwarves. This is something you'll see time and time again through the years. Dwarves carrying the dwarf lord on some type of a throne. Black and white pictures of the minis. There's plenty of them painted, but as you can see, miniature hobbying has become the driving force of this magazine, the focal point of this magazine, the miniatures, which was great for me and why I have been getting White Dwarf products, or Games Workshop products, and reading White Dwarf for many years. Although I think, like many people, I sort of have a love-hate relationship with them, as much as I love the company and the people who work for the company and the quality that they and all the heart that they put into the games and the sculpts and stuff. The management just makes me nuts sometimes, in that I think that they do things that drive people away from the gaming industry, or they frustrate people who drop out of the gaming industry, and I hate to see that happen. And finally, on the back, you've got a picture of a great full-blown battle taking place on great scenery with a great backdrop. I like this giant. This was around for quite a few years and just disappeared off of the scene. It was a major hunk of metal. I didn't get this one, but I like it better than the new one today, although when this new one has been painted up well, it is cool, and I've seen it done with some good conversions too, but I just always have liked that guy. So I think that was all the comments I was going to make about this one. I don't know whether it's the next one or the one after that. I really don't have the one that falls. I believe it's the next one. It is. I don't have the issue that actually falls in April of 5 years from now, 1998. So I'm going to have to jump forward to about September. Like I said, had a love-hate relationship, so perhaps I quit buying White Dwarfs, or else they hit a point where I just wasn't interested in the things they were putting out in the magazine. But anyway, that's not too far off the mark. It's a couple of months off the mark, and I'll be talking about issue number 224. So hope you enjoyed. God bless. See you guys later.